Our first presentation of the evening is entitled Battle of the Bans: Why Conservatives Should Not Support Book Bans. Please welcome Sienna Rodriguez.
Bright orange and raging red flames blazed, filling the air with dark gray clouds of smoke. Spectators gathered, hurling hundreds of books into the growing flames. Wood and paper crackled in the pit, adding fuel to the fire. Thin white pages were incinerated, along with the ink-printed letters and innovative ideas they spelled out. An author's precious work he wanted to share with the world, now reduced to ashes. This savage act of censorship was one of 34 that occurred on May 10th, 1933 in Germany. This book ban was only the beginning of the Nazis' journey to purge the world of Jews. Alarmingly, bans like these are no longer just occurring in dictatorships. They have now invaded the land of the free, the United States. Americans on both sides of the political aisle have recently recoiled at some of the books available to students in public school, leading them to incite bans on these books. Americans valiantly fought in World War II against the Nazis for the sake of keeping freedoms such as freedom of speech. They sacrificed so much in order to keep sacred one of America's foundational values, our First Amendment. Why do Americans now seem to have abandoned one of the freedoms our soldiers fought and died for? Beginning in 2021, conservatives have called for bans on books containing LGBTQ ideas or discussions of sex in order to protect children's innocence, while liberals claim students should learn about these topics. The desire of conservatives, however, a group characterized by their belief in a limited government, to ban these books is controversial due to the apparent hypocrisy in giving the government power to suppress ideas. This raises the question, should conservatives support book bans? I argue that conservatives should not support book bans because they do not align with the conservative value of having a limited government and violate the First Amendment right of freedom of speech. Book bans do not align with the conservative value of having a limited government because they make the government big by giving them the power to suppress information. This is not consistent with the democratic government America fought for and our founding fathers established. James Madison, father of the Constitution, said, "Knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and a people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power which knowledge gives." In other words, gaining knowledge and maintaining access to information is what allows Americans to keep the government small and maintain our independence. Once we lose this ability, people are no longer able to be their own governors. When we can no longer rule ourselves, we become subject to another authority, in this case, a big government. Furthermore, conservatives need to protect their ability to rule themselves from the government corruption and potential tyranny caused by censorship like book bans. Thomas Jefferson once stated, "Every spirit should be ready to devote itself to martyrdom, for as long as we may think as we will and speak as we think, the condition of man will proceed in improvement." Current book bans do not allow us to think as we will and speak as we think. Instead, they give the government power to tell us what to think and what to speak by inhibiting readers and censoring authors. Conservative advocates for book bans turn a blind eye to their American duty to protect this blessing of liberty, and instead allow censorship to ignorantly enslave us to whoever is currently in power. If conservatives begin to ban books while they are in power, liberals will demand that same ability when they gain power. This will create a society held captive and confused. Some conservatives argue that we should ban books containing LGBTQ characters or detailed sexual experience between characters, because they harm the innocence of children by introducing them to these topics in a way that normalizes immoral or deviant behavior. I do concede that we should protect children from harmful and inappropriate topics. A report done by PEN America, however, found that only 30% of books banned in 2023 contained LGBTQ characters or detailed sexual experience, while almost half the books banned discuss violence or abuse. This vague legislation has led to even the Bible being banned in some cases. This is hypocritical to what conservatives stand for, because the laws they claim are taking inappropriate sexual material out of libraries are now affecting hundreds of other books that do not fall under this category. This does not, however, mean that every child should be required to read every book assigned to them. It is a parent's responsibility to stay involved and actively monitor what their child is reading and learning. However, when a parent petitions for a ban on a specific book in their child's school, they are seeking to take away that book from a whole school of children who are not under their authority. So, how should parents engage in their child's education while not overstepping their authority? Parents can seek exemptions or other solutions if they find the curriculum inappropriate. Take the story of the Romeich family. You and Hannelore Romeich had 3 children attending public school. They began to notice changes in their children, such as bad attitudes, vulgar language, and personality changes. After examining their children's textbooks, they found that the books discussed sensitive topics such as sex in a way that did not align with their Christian morals. The Romeichs then pulled their children out of that public school and found another alternative. They exercised their parental authority in deciding what was best for their children, not by petitioning for a ban that would affect the whole school, but rather held fast to the morals they wanted to instill in their children, recognized that the public school was not supporting those values, and found another alternative. Think back to the story of the book burning. How would you feel as a parent or teacher watching as precious pages are consumed in the fire? How would you feel as a student watching one of your favorite books fall victim to the flames? How would you feel as a conservative watching as these books are destroyed, but along with them, freedom of speech? Parents, stay involved in your child's education and guide them through the difficult parts of life. Students, grow in your ability to read and reason through ideas you may not agree with. Teachers and librarians, seek to select books for your students that are appropriate and have significance to them. Conservatives, remember that censorship is a dangerous fire to play with. Let's make sure that when we confront controversy, our fundamental values do not go up in smoke. Thank you.